The tragedy of Othello, the Moor of Venice. Actus primus, scona prima. Enter Roderigo and Iago. Roderigo, newer tell me, I take it much vieng kindly. That thou, Iago, who hast had my purse, as if why strings were thine, shouldst he know of this. Chapter 1. But you'll not hear me, if you or I did dream of such a matter, abhorra me. Rhodo, thou toldst me. Thou didst hold him in thy hate. Chapter 1. Ago, despise me. Chapter 1. If I do not, 3 great ones of the city. In personal, sweet to make me his lieutenant. Off cap to him, and by the faith of man. Chapter 1. Know my price, I am worth no worse a place. But he, as lowing his own pride and purposes, aids them with a bombast circumstance, horribly stuffed with epithets of war. Non-sweets my mediators, for certes, says he. Chapter 1. Ha already chose my officer, and what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician. One Michael Cassio, a Florentine. A fellow almost damned in a fair wife. That newer set a squadron in the field, nor the dusion of a battle knows. Chapter 1000. Or than a spinster, vien less the bookish theoric, wherein the tongued consuls can propose, as masterly as he, mere prattle without practice. Chapter 1. All his soldiership, but he, sir, had election. And I, of whom his eyes had seen the proof. At Rhodes, at Cyprus, and on others' grounds. Chapter 100. Christened and heathen must be belied and calmed by debitor and creditor, this countercaster. He, in good time, must his lieutenant be. And I bless the mark, his moorship's ancient rod, by Hohen I rather would ha' been his hangman. Chapter 1. Ago, why there's no remedy. 'Tis the curse of Cerois. Preferment goes by letter and affection, and not by old gradation, where each second stood ere toth first. Now, sir, be eod yourself, whether I in any eos term am to low the more rod, I would not follow him then. Chapter 1. Ago, O sir, content you. Chapter 1. Follow him to Cero my turn vpon him. We cannot all be masters, nor all masters. Chapter 100. And not be truly followed, you shall mark. Chapter 1000. Any aducious and knee crooking gnaw, that, doting on his own obsequious bondage, wears out his time, much like his master's essay. For naught but prounder, and when he's old cashiered. Whip me such honest gnaws, others there are, who trimmed in forms and visages of duty, keep yet their hearts attending on themselves, and throwing but shows of Cerois on their lords. Chapter 500. Oh well 3 you buy them, and when they ha lind their coats. Chapter 500. Oh them sellus homage. These fellows ha some soul, and such a one do I profess myself, for sir. Chapter 1. T is as sure as you are Roderigo. Were I the Moor, I would not be Iago. Chapter 1. In following him I follow but myself. Hohen is my eage, not I for law and duty, but seeming so, for my peculiar end. For when my outward action doth demonstrate the natty you act and figure of my heart. Chapter 1. En compliment extern, 'tis not long after, but I will wear my heart vpon my sleeve. For daws to peck at, I am not what I am. Rod, what a fall fortune does the thick slips owe. Chapter 1. If he can care it thus. Chapter 1. Ago, call VP her father. Rose him, make after him, poison his delight. Proclaim him in the streets, incense her kinsmen. And though he in a fertile climate dwell, plague him with flies, though that his eye be eye. Yet throw such chances of vexation on't, as it may lose some color. Rhodo, here's her father's house, I'll call aloud. Chapter 1. Ago, doe with like timorous accent and dire yell, as when by night in negligence the fire. Chapter 1. Espied in populous cities. Rhodo, what hoa, Brabantio signor Brabantio hoa. Chapter 1. Ago, awake, what hoa Brabantio, theus. Chapter 50. Ook to your house, your daughter and your bags. Theos. Bra, abow, what is the reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there? Rodo, signor is all your family within. Chapter 1. Ago, are your doors locked? Bra, why, wherefore ask you this? Chapter 1. Ago, sir, ye're robbed, for shame put on your gown. Your heart is burst, you ha lost half your soul. You and now, very now, an old blacky ram. Chapter 1. Es tupping your white you arise. Awake the snorting citizens with the bell. Or else the duel will make a grand sire of you. Arise, I say. Bra, what ha you lost your wits? Rod, most ruerend signor, do you know my voice? Bra, not I, what are you? Rod, my name is Roderigo. Bra, the worser welcome. Chapter 1. Ha charg thee not to haunt about my doors. Chapter 1. In honest plaininess thou hast heard me say. Chapter 1000. Why daughter is not for thee, and now in madness. Being full of supper, and distempering draughts. Chapter 5. Pon malicious nowery dost thou come. To start my quiet. Rod, sir. Bra, but thou must needs be sure. Chapter 1000. Why spirits in my place ha in their power. To make this bitter to thee. Rodo, patience good sir. Bra, what tell'st thou me of robbing? This is Venice, my house is not a grange. Rodo, most gra Brabantio. Chapter 1. And simple and pure soul I come to you. Chapter 1. Sir, you are one of those that will not sorrow God if the duel bid you. Because we come to do you sorrowous, and you think we are ruffians, you'll let ha your daughter coward with a Barbary horse, you'll let ha your nephews neigh to you, you'll let ha coursers for cousins, and genets for germains. Bra, what profane wretch art thou? Chapter 1. I am one, sir, that comes to tell you, your daughter. And the more, are making the beast with two backs. Bra, thou art a villain. Chapter 1. Ago, you are a senator. Bra, this thou shalt answer. I know thee, Roderigo. Rod, sir, I will answer anything, but I beseech you. Chapter 1. Be your pleasure and most wise consent. As partly I find it is, that your fair daughter. At this odd ewen and dull watch with night. Transported with no worse nor better guard. But with a gnaw of common hire, a gondolier. To the gross clasps of a lascivious Moor. Chapter 1. If this be known to you, and your allowance. We then hauden you bold, and saucy wrongs. But if you know not this, my manners tell me. We ha your wrong rebuke, do not believe you. That from the sense of all civility. Chapter 1. Thus would play and trifle with your ruerance. Your daughter, if you ha not gew in her low. Chapter 1. Say again hath made a gross ruold. Tying her duty, beauty, wit, and fortunes. Chapter 1. En an extravagant and wheeling stranger. Of here and everywhere, straight satisfy yourself. Chapter 1. If she be in her chamber or your house. Chapter 50. Et loose on me the justice of the state. For thus deluding you. Bra, strike on the tinder hoa. Give me a taper, call VP all my people. This accident is not VN like my dream. Belief of it oppresses me already. Chapter 51. GHT I say light. Enter. Chapter 1. Ag farewell, for I must loe you. Chapter 1. Tea seems not meet, nor wholesome to my place. To be producted, as if I stay I shall. Against the Moor, for I do know the state. How your this may gall him with some check. Chapter 100. Annot with Safety cast him, for he's embarked. With such loud reason to the Cyprus wars. Which Ewan now stands in act, that for their souls. Another of his fathom, they ha none. To lead their business, in which regard. Though I do hate him as I do hell pains. Yet, for necessity of present life. Chapter 1. Must show out a flag and scene of Lao, which is indeed but seen, that you shall surely find him. Chapter 50. Ead to the Sagittary the raised search. And there will I be with him, so farewell. Enter Brabantio, with cerewents and torches. Bra, it is too true and Ewell, gone she is. And what's to come of my despised time? Chapter 1. S naught but bitterness, now Roderigo. Where didst thou see her, O Vienne happy girl? With the Moor sayest thou, who would be a father? How didst thou know 'twas she? Oh, she disowes me. Past thought, what said she to you? Get moe tapers. Raise all my kindred, are they married, think you? Rhodo, truly I think they are. Bra, O Hohen, how got she out? O treason of the blood. Fathers, from hence trust not your daughters' minds. By what you see them act, is there not charms? By which the property of youth and maidhood. Chapter 1000. I be abuzed, ha you not read Roderigo? Of some such thing. Rod, yes sir, I ha indeed. Bra, call VP my brother, oh would you had her. Some one way, some another, do you know? Where we may apprehend her, and the more. Rod, I think I can discour him if you please. To get good guard, and go along with me. Bra, pray you lead on, at Uri house I'll call. I may command at most, get weapons hoa. And raise some special officers of might. On good Roderigo, I will desure your pains. Exeunt. Scena secunda. Enter Othello, Iago, attendants with torches. Chapter 1. Though in the trade of war I ha slain men, yet do I hold it very stuff oath conscience. To do no contraued murder, I lack ye iniquity. Sometime to do me serwis, 9 or 10 times. Chapter 1. Had thought T-ha yerked him here viender the ribs. Othello, 'tis better as it is. Chapter 1. Ago, nay but he prated, and spoke such scuri, and provoking terms. Against your honor, that with the little godliness I ha. Chapter 1. Did full hard forbear him, but I pray you, sir. Are you fast married? Be assured of this, that the Magnifico is much belued, and hath in his effect a voice potential. As double as the Duke's, he will divorce you, or put vpon you, what restraint or grievance. The law with all his might, to enforce it on, will giu him cable. Othel, let him do his spite. Chapter 1000. Why Cerewises, which I ha done the signori, shall out-tongue his complaints, 'tis yet to know. Which when I know, that boasting is an honor. Chapter 1. Shall promulgate, I fetch my life and being from men of royal sage, and my demerits. Chapter 1000. I speak, Vienne bonneted to as proud a fortune as this that I ha reached, for no Iago, but that I allow the gentle Desdemona. Chapter 1. Would not my Vienne housed free condition put into circumscription and confine for the sea's worth, but look what lights come yond. Enter Cassio with torches. Chapter 1. Ago, those are the raised father and his friends. You were best go in. Othel, not I must be found. Chapter 1000. Why parts my title and my perfect soul shall manifest me rightly, is it they? Chapter 1. Ago, by Eunice I think no. Othel, the cerewants of the Dukes, and my lieutenant. The goodness of the night vpon you, friends. What is the news? Chapter 100. Asio, the Duke does greet you, general, and he requires your post-haste appearance. Ewan on the instant. Othello, what is the matter, think you? Chapter 100. Asio, something from Cyprus as I may dewine. Chapter 1. Tea is a business of some heat, the galleys ha sent a dozen sequent messengers this very night at one another's heels, and many of the consuls, raised and met, are at the Duke's already. You ha been hotly called for. when being not at your lodging to be found. The Senate hath sent about 3 several quests to search you out. Othel, 'tis well I am found by you. Chapter 1. Will but spend a word here in the house, and go with you. Chapter 100. Asio,onscient what makes he here? Chapter 1. Ago, faith he tonight hath boarded a land caract. Chapter 1. If it prow lawful prize, he's made for ewer. Chapter 100. Asio, I do not understand. Chapter 1. Ago, he's married. Chapter 100. Asio, to who? Chapter 1. Ago, marry to come captain will you go? Othel, ha with you. Chapter 100. Asio, here comes another troop to seek for you. Enter Brabantio, Roderigo, with officers and torches. Chapter 1. Ago, it is Brabantio, general be aduised. He comes to bad intent. Othello, Hollis stand there. Rhodo, Signor it is the Bra, down with him thief. Chapter 1. Ago, you Roderigo, come sir I am for you. Oth, keep VP your bright swords, for the dew will rust them. Good Signor, you shall more command with years than with your weapons. Bra, O thou foul thief. Where hast thou stowed my daughter? Chapter 500. Amd as thou art, thou hast enchanted her. For I'll refer me to all things of sense. If she in chains of magic were not bound. Whether a maid, so tender, fair, and happy, so opposite to marriage, that she shunned the wealthy curled dearling of our nation. Would your haughty incur a general mock? Run from her guardage to the sooty bosom of such a thing as thou, to fear not to delight. Chapter 1. Udge me the world if 'tis not gross in sense that thou hast practised on her with foul charms, abuzzed her delicate youth with drugs or minerals. That weakens motion, I'll hoe it disputed on. 'Tis probable and palpable to thinking. Chapter 1. Therefore apprehend and do attach thee. For an abuser of the world, a practiser of arts inhibited and out of warrant. Chapter 50. I hold thee upon him if he do resist. Subdue him at his peril. Oth, hold your hands. Both you of my inclining, and the rest. Were it my cue to fight, I should ha known it. Without a prompter, whither will you that I go? To answer this your charge. Bra, to prison till fit time. Of law, and course of direct session. Chapter 100. All thee to answer. Oth, what if I do obey? How may the Duke be therewith satisfied? Whose messengers are here about my side? Chapter 5. Pawn some present business of the state, to bring me to him. Officer, 'tis true most worthy Signor. The Duke's in council, and your noble self. Chapter 1. I'm sure is sent for. Bra, how, the Duke in council. Chapter 1. End this time of the night, bring him away. Chapter 1001. Needs not an idle cause, the Duke himself, or any of my brothers of the state. Chapter 100. Annot but feel this wrong, as twere their own. For if such actions may haw passage free, bonds laws, and pagans shall our statesmen be. Exeunt. Scena tertia. Enter Duke, senators, and officers. Chapter 500. Uke, there's no composition in this news. That Jews them credit. 1 sen, indeed they are disproportioned. Chapter 1000. Why letters say 100 ensue in galleys. Chapter 500. Uke, and mine 140. 2 Scena, and mine 200. But though they eump not on a eus to compt, as in these cases where the I'm reports, 'tis oft with difference, yet do they all confirm. A Turkish fleet, and bearing VP to Cyprus. Chapter 500. Uke, nay, it is possible enough to judgment. Chapter 1. Do not so secure me in the error. But the main article I do approw. Chapter 1. And fearful sense. Sailor within, what hoa, what hoa, what hoa. Enter sailor. Officer, a messenger from the galleys. Chapter 500. Yuk now, what's the business? Sailor, the Turkish preparation makes for roads. So was I bid report here to the state. By Signor Angela. Chapter 500. Yuk, how say you by this chain? One sen, this cannot be. By no assay of reason, 'tis a pageant. To keep v's and false gaze, when we consider th importancy of Cyprus to the Turk. And let our sellus again but we understand that as it more concerns the Turk than roads, so may he with more facile question bear it. For that it stands not in such warlike brace, but altogether lacks th abilities. That roads is dressed in, if we make thought of this, we must not think the Turk is so vn skillful to low that latest, which concerns him first, neglecting an attempt of ease and gain, to wake and wage a danger profitless. Chapter 500. Yuk, nay, in all confidence he's not for roads. Officer, here is more news. Enter a messenger. Chapter 1000. Ensign, the Ottomites ruined and gracious, steering with due course toward the Isle of Rhodes. Ha there anointed them with an after fleet. One sen, so I thought, how many as you guess? Chapter 1000. Of 30 sail, and now they do restem their backward course, bearing with frank appearance their purposes toward Cyprus. Signor Montano, your trusty and most valiant servitor, with his free duty, recommends you thus, and prays you to believe him. Chapter 500. Yuk, 'tis certain then for Cyprus. Chapter 1000. Arcus Luchicos is not he in town? One sen, he's now in Florence. Chapter 500. Yuk, write from verses. To him, post haste dispatch. One sen, here comes Brabantio and the valiant Moor. Enter Brabantio, Othello, Cassio, Iago, Roderigo, and officers. Chapter 500. Yuk, valiant Othello, we must straight employ you against the general enemy Ottoman. Chapter 1. Did not see you, welcome gentle Signor. We lacked your counsel and your help tonight. Bra, so did I yours, good your grace pardon me. Neither my place, nor aught I heard of business, hath raised me from my bed, nor doth the general care take hold on me, for my particular grief. Chapter 1. Of so floodgate and o'erbearing nature, that it inglets and swallows other sorrows, and it is still itself. Chapter 500. Yuk, why, what's the matter? Bra, my daughter, oh my daughter. Son dead. Bra, I to me. She is abused, stolny from me and corrupted by spells and medicines bought of mountebanks. For nature, so preposterously to err, being not deficient, blind or lame of sense, sans witchcraft could not. Chapter 500. Yuk, whoe'er he be that in this foul proceeding hath thus beguiled your daughter of herself, and you of her, the bloody book of law, you shall yourself read in the bitter letter, after your own sense, yea, though our proper son stood in your action. Bra, humbly I thank your grace. Here is the man, this Moor whom now it seems your special mandate for the state affairs hath hither brought. All, we are very sorry for't. Chapter 500. Yuk, what in your own part can you say to this? Bra, nothing but this is so. Oth, most potent gra and ruer insigniors. Chapter 1000. Why very noble and approved good masters, that I ha ta'en away this old man's daughter. Chapter 1. T is most true, true I ha married her. The very head, in front of my offending, hath this extent, no more, rude am I in my speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of peace. For since these arms of mine had sewen years pith, till now, some 9 moons wasted, they ha viest their dearest action in the tented field. and little of this great world can I speak. Chapter 1000. Or then pertains to feats of broils and battle, and therefore little shall I grace my cause. Chapter 1. And speaking for myself, yet by your gracious patience. Chapter 1. Will around Vien varnished tale deliver of my whole course of law. What drug is, what charms, what cunning narration, and what mighty magic. For such proceeding I am charged withal. Chapter 1. One his daughter. Bra, a maiden newer bold, of spirit so still and quiet that her motion blushed at herself, and she in spite of nature, of years, of country credit ewery thing, to fall in low with what she feared to look on. Chapter 1. T is a judgment maimed and most imperfect, that will confess perfection, so could err against all rules of nature, and must be drayuan to find out practices of cunning. Why this should be, I therefore vouch again, that with some mixtures, powerful array the blood, or with some dram, conneered to this effect, he wrought upon her. To vouch this is no proof, without more wider and more our test, than these thin habits and poor likelihoods of modern seeming do prefer against him. Send but Othello speak. Chapter 999. You, by indirect and forced courses, subdue and poison this young maid's affections. Or came it by request, and such fair question, as soul to soul affordeth? Othel, I do beseech you, send for the lady to the Sagittary, and let her speak of me before her father. Chapter 1. If you do find me foul in her report, the trust, the office I do hold of you, not only take away, but let your sentence you infall upon my life. Chapter 500. Uke, fetch Desdemona hither. Oth, ancient conduct them. You best know the place. And tell she come, as truly as to Hohen. Chapter 1. Do confess the vices of my blood. So easily to your graw ears, I'll present how I did through you in this fair lady's low, and she in mine. Chapter 500. Uke, say it Othello. Oz, her father lewd me, oft inwitted me, still question me the story of my life. From year to year, the battle sieges fortune that I haw past. Chapter 1. Ran it through, Ewan from my boyish days. Toth very moment that he bade me tell it, wherein I spoke of most disastrous chances, of mooing accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth scapes i'th imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe, and sold to sloughery, of my redemption thence, and portents in my troiler's history, wherein of anters vast, and Desarts idle, rough quarries, rocks, hills whose head touch Hohen. Chapter 1. T was my hint to speak, such was my process, and of the cannibals that each others eat, the anthropophag, and men whose heads grew beneath their shoulders, these things to hear would Desdemona seriously incline. But still, the house affairs would draw her hence, which ewer as she could with haste dispatch. She'ld come again, and with a greedy ear. Chapter 500. Your VP my discourse, which I observing, took once a pliant hour, and found good means to draw from her a prayer of earnest heart, that I would all my pilgrimage delate, whereof by parcels she had something heard. But not instinctially, I did consent, and often did beguile her of her tears, when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth suffered, my story being done. She gaw me for my pains a world of kisses. She swore in faith 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished she had not heard it, yet she wished that Hohen had made her such a man. She thanked me, and bade me, if I had a friend that lewd her. Chapter 1. Should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Vpon this hint I spake. She lewd me for the dangers I had passed, And I lewd her, that she did pity them. This onely is the witchcraft I ha viest. Here comes the lady, let her witness it. Enter Desdemona, Iago, attendants. Chapter 500. Euch, I think this tale would win my daughter too. Good Brabantio, take VP this mangled matter at the best. Chapter 1000. And do their broken weapons rather VSC than their bare hands. Bra, I pray you hear her speak. Chapter 1. If she confessed that she was half the wooer. Chapter 500. Instruction on my head if my bad blame. Chapter 51. GHT on the man, come hither gentle mistress. Chapter 500. Oh, you pursue you in all this noble company, where most you owe obedience. Chapter 500. Ease, my noble father. Chapter 1. Do pursue you here a duited duty. To you I am bound for life and education. Chapter 1000. Why life and education both do learn me. How to respect you, you are the lord of duty. Chapter 1. Am hitherto your daughter, but here's my husband. And so much duty, as my mother showed. To you, preferring you before her father. So much I challenge, that I may profess. Chapter 500. You to the Moor, my lord. Bra, God be with you, I ha done. Please at your grace, on to the state affairs. Chapter 1. Had rather to adopt a child than get it. Chapter 100. Hither more. Chapter 1. Here do you thee that with all my heart. Which but thou hast already, with all my heart. Chapter 1. Would keep from thee, for your sake UL. Chapter 1. Am glad at soul I ha no other child. For thy escape would teach me tyranny. To hang clogs on them, I ha done my lord. Chapter 500. Euch, let me speak like yourself. And lay a sentence. Which as a grise, or step may help these lowers. When remedies are past, the griefs are ended. By seeing the worst, which late on hopes depended. To mourn a mischief that is past and gone. Chapter 1. The next way to draw new mischief on. What cannot be pursued, when fortune takes. Patience, her aneary a mockery makes. The robbed that smiles, steals something from the thief. He robs himself, that spends a boodaless grief. Bra, so let the Turk of Cyprus versus beguile. We loose it not so long as we can smile. He bears the sentence well, that nothing bears. But the free comfort which from thence he hears. But he bears both the sentence and the sorrow. That to pay grief, must of poor patience borrow. These sentences, to sugar or to gall, being strong on both sides, are equivocal. But words are words, I knew or yet did hear. That the bruised heart was pierced through the ears. Chapter 1. Humbly beseech you proceed to th affairs of state. Chapter 500. Euch, the Turk with a most mighty preparation makes for Cyprus. Othello, the fortitude of the place is best known to you, and though we ha there a substitute of most allowed sufficiency, yet opinion, a more sour rainy mistress of effects, throws a more safer voice on you. You must therefore be content to slubber the gloss of your new fortunes with this more stubborn and boisterous expedition. The turrent custom most gras senators, hath made the flinty and steel coach of war. Chapter 1000. Why thrice drew you in bed of down? I do agonize. A natural and prompt alacrity. Chapter 1. Find in hardness, and do vien durdake. This present wars against the Ottomites. Chapter 1000. Ost humbly therefore bending to your state. Chapter 1. Craw fit disposition for my wife. Chapter 500. You reference of place and exhibition. With such accommodation and besort. As Lewell's with her breeding. Chapter 500. Euch, why at her father's. Bra, I will not ho it so. Nor I. Chapter 500. Ease, nor would I there reside. To put my father in impatient thoughts. By being in his eye, most gracious Duke. To my VN folding, lend your prosperous ear. And let me find a charter in your voice. Assist my simpleness. Chapter 500. Uke, what would you Desdemona? Chapter 500. Ease, that I allow the Moor to liu with him. Chapter 1000. Why downright violence and storm of fortunes? Chapter 1000. I trumpet to the world, my heart subdued. Ewan to the very quality of my lord. Chapter 1. Saw Othello's visage in his mind, and to his honors and his valiant parts. Chapter 999. I my soul and fortunes consecrate, so that, dear lords, if I be left behind, a moth of peace, and he go to the war, the rights for why I allow him are bereft me, and I a holy interim shall support. By his dear absence, let me go with him. Let her haw your voice. Chapter 5. Ouch with me hoen, I therefore beg it not, to please the palate of my appetite, nor to comply with heat the young affects. Chapter 1. End my defunct in proper satisfaction, but to be free and bounteous to her mind, and hoen defend your good souls, that you think. Chapter 1. Will your serious and great business scant, when she is with me, no when light-winged toys of feathered Cupid seal with wanton dullness. Chapter 1000. Why speculate you an offict instrument, that my disports corrupt and taint my business? Chapter 50. At house we use make a skillet of my helmy, and all in dean and base aduicities. Chapter 1000. Ache head against my estimation. Chapter 500. Uke, be it as you shall preuately determine, either for her stay or going, a fair cries hast, and speed must answer it. Sen you must away tonight. With all my heart. Chapter 500. Uke, at 9th morning here we'll meet again. Othello, loesome officer behind, and he shall our commission bring to you, and such things else of quality and respect, as doth import you. So please your grace my ancient, a man he is of honesty and trust. To his convenience I asseen my wife, with what else needful your good grace shall think, to be sent after me. Chapter 500. Uke, let it be so. Good night to you, one, and noble Signor. Chapter 1. Virtue no delighted beauty lackey. Your son-in-law is far more fair than blacky. Sen adieu bra more, vsc Desdemona well. Bra, look to her more, if thou hast eyes to see. She has deceived her father, and may thee enter. My life vipon her faith, honest Iago. Chapter 1000. Why Desdemona must I low to thee? Chapter 1. Prithee let thy wife attend on her, and bring them after in the best advantage. Chapter 100. Desdemona, I ha but an hour of low, of wordly matter and direction, to spend with thee, we must obey the time. Enter. Rod, Iago. Chapter 1. Ago, what sayest thou, noble heart? Rod, what will I do, think'st thou? Chapter 1. Ago, why go to bed and sleep? Rod, I will incontinently drown myself. Chapter 1. Ago, if thou doest I shall newer allow thee after. Why thou silly gentleman? Rod, it is silliness to liu when to liu is torment, and then ha we a prescription to die when death is our physician. Chapter 1. Ago, O villainous, I ha looked vipon the world for 4 times 7 years, and since I could distinguish betwixt a benefit and an injury, I knew or found man that knew how to low himself. Ere I would say I would drown myself for the low of a guinea hen, I would change my humanity with a baboon. Rod, what should I do? I confess it is my shame to be so fond, but it is not in my virtue to amend it. Chapter 1. Ago, virtue. A fig, tease in our cellus that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are our gardens, to the which our wills are gardeners, so that if we will plant nettles or sow lettuce, set hyssop and weed VP time, supply it with one gender of herbs, or distract it with many, either to haw it sterile with idleness, or manured with industry, Why the power and corrigible authority of this lies in our wills. If the brain of our lius had not one scale of reason, to poise another of sensuality, the blood and baseness of our natures would conduct versus to most preposterous conclusions. But we ha reason to cool our raging motions, our carnal stings, or enbitted lusts, whereof I take this, that you call Lao to be a sect or sayan. Rod, it cannot be. Chapter 1. Ago, it is merely a lust of the blood and a permission of the will. Come, be a man, drown thyself, drown cats and blind puppies. I ha profess me thy friend, and I confess me knit to thy deserving with cables of perdurable toughness. I could newer better steed thee than now. Put money in thy purse, follow thou the wars, defeat thy foe with an usurped beard. I say put money in thy purse. It cannot be long that Desdemona should continue her Lao to the Moor. Put money in thy purse, nor he his to her. It was a violent commencement in her, and thou shalt see an answerable sequestration. Put but money in thy purse. These Moors are changeable in their wills. Fill thy purse with money. The food that to him now is as luscious as locusts, shall to him shortly as bitter as coloquintida. She must change for youth. When she is sated with his body, she will find the errors of her choice. Therefore, put money in thy purse. If thou wilt needs damn thyself, do it a more delicate way than drowning. Make all the money thou canst. If sanctimony and a frail vow betwixt an erring barbarian and supersubtle Venetian be not too hard for my wits, and all the tribe of hell, thou shalt annoy her. Therefore make money. A pox of drowning thyself, it is clean out of the way. Seek thou rather to be hanged encompassing thy eye, than to be drowned and go without her. Rhodo, wilt thou be fast to my hopes if I depend on the issue? Iago, thou art sure of me, go make money. I ha told thee often, and I retell thee again and again, I hate the more. My cause is hearted, then hath no less reason. Let these be cunning to you in our ruinge against him. If thou canst cuckold him, thou dost thyself a pleasure, me a sport. There are many euents in the wam of time which will de leeward. Trowers go pruade thy money. We will ha more of this tomorrow. Adieu. Rod, where shall we meet ith morning? Chapter 1. Ago, at my lodging. Rod, I'll be with thee betimes. Chapter 1. Ago, go to, farewell, do you hear Roderigo? Rod, I'll sell all my land. Enter. Chapter 1. Ago, thus do I year make my fool my purse. For I mine own gain knowledge should profane. Chapter 1. If I would time expend with such snipe. But for my sport and profit, I hate the Moor. And it is thought abroad, that twixt my sheets. She has done my office, I know not if't be true. But I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if for surety, he holds me well. The better shall my purpose work on him. Chapter 100. Asio's a proper man, let me see now. To get his place, and to plume VP my will. Chapter 1. In double nowery, how, let's see. After some time, to abuse Othello's ears. That he is too familiar with his wife. He hath a person, and a smooth dispose. To be suspected, fram to make women false. The Moor is of a free and open nature. That thinks men honest, that but seem to be so. And will as tenderly be lead byth knows. As asses are. Chapter 1. Hot it is engendered, hell and night. Chapter 1000. Ust bring this monstrous birth to the world's light. Actus secundus, scena prima. Enter Montano and two gentlemen. Chapter 1000. On, what from the cape can you discern at sea? One gent, nothing at all, it is a high-wrought flood. Chapter 1. Cannot twixt the Hohen and the main. Chapter 500. Escry a sail. Chapter 1000. On, methinks the wind hath spoke aloud at land. A fuller blast near shook our battlements. Chapter 1. If it hath ruffianed so vpon the sea. What ribs of oak, when mountains melt on them. Chapter 100. And hold the Morties, what shall we hear of this? 2. A segregation of the Turkish fleet. For do but stand vpon the foaming shore. The chidden billow seems to pelt the clouds. The windshack surge, with high and monstrous mane, seems to cast water on the burning bear, and quench the guards of ewer fixed pole. Chapter 1. Newer did like molestation view. On the enchafed flood. Chapter 1000. If that the Turkish fleet be not ensheltered, and embayed they are drowned. Chapter 1. T is impossible to bear it out. Enter a gentleman. 3 news lads, our wars are done. The desperate tempest hath so banged the Turks, that their designment halts, a noble ship of Venice hath seen a grievous racky and sufferance on most part of their fleet. Chapter 1000. On how is this true? 3 The ship is here put in, a Veronessa, Michael Cassio. Chapter 51. Lieutenant to the warlike Moor Othello. Chapter 1. Come on shore, the Moor himself at sea, and is in full commission here for Cyprus. Chapter 1000. I am glad on't. 'Tis a worthy governor. 3 But this same Cassio, though he speak of comfort touching the Turkish loss, yet he looks sadly, and pray the Moor be safe, for they were parted with foul and violent tempest. Chapter 1000. Pray hoens he be, for I ha served him, and the man commands. Chapter 51. He a full soldier, let's to the seaside hoa, as well to see the vessel that's come in, as to throw out our eyes for braw Othello. Ewan till we make the main, and Arial blue. An indistinct regard. Gent, come let's do so. For your minute is expectancy of more a reuancy. Enter Cassio. Chapter 100. See, thanks you, the valiant of the warlike isle, that so approve you the more, oh let the hoens giu him defense against the elements, for I ha lost him on a dangerous sea. Chapter 1000. Is he well shipped? Chapter 100. Asio, his bark is stoutly timbered and his pilot of very expert and a prude allowance. Therefore my hopes, not surfeited to death, stand in bold cure. Within, a sail. Chapter 100. Asio, what noise? Gent, the town is empty on the brow of sea. Stand ranks of people and they cry, a sail. Chapter 100. Asio, my hopes do shape him for the governor. Gent, they do discharge their shot of courtesy. Our friends at least. Chapter 100. Asio, I pray you sir go forth, and giu versus truth, who 'tis that is a reude. Gent, I shall. Enter. Chapter 1000. But good lieutenant is your general weude. Chapter 100. Asio, most fortunately he hath achieved a maid, that paragon's description, and wild of fame, one that excels the quirks of blazoning pens, and in essential vesture of creation. Chapter 500. Os tire the ingenieur. Enter gentleman. How now, who has put in? Gent, 'tis one Iago, ancient to the general. Chapter 100. Asio, has had most forable and happy speed. Tempests themselves, high seas and howling winds, the gutter drocks and congregated sands, traitors and steeped, to unclog the guiltless keel, as hawing sense of beauty, do omit their mortal natures, letting go safely by the divine Desdemona. Chapter 1000. What is she? Chapter 100. Asio, she that I spake of, our great captain's captain. Chapter 50. In the conduct of the bold Iago, whose footing here anticipates our thoughts. A sea knight's speed, great Io Othello guard, and swell his sail with thine own powerful breath, that he may bless this bay with his tall ship. Chapter 1000. Lows quick pants in Desdemona's arms. Giu renewed fire to our extincted spirits. Enter Desdemona, Iago, Roderigo, and Emilia. Oh, behold, the riches of the ship is come on shore. You men of Cyprus, let her haw your knees. Hail to thee, lady, and the grace of Hoen. Before, behind thee, and on your hand, and wheel thee round. Chapter 500. Ease, I thank you, valiant Cassio. What tidings can you tell of my lord? Chapter 100. As he is not yet a rude, nor know I aught. But that he's well, and will be shortly here. Chapter 500. Ease, oh, but I fear. How lost you company. Chapter 100. Asio, the great contention of sea and skies. Parted our fellowship, but hark a sail. Within, a sail, a sail. Gent, they gie you this greeting to the citadel. This likewise is a friend. Chapter 100. Asio, see for the news. Good ancient, you are welcome, welcome mistress. Chapter 50. Let it not gall your patience, good Iago, that I extend my manners, tease my breeding, that use me this bold show of courtesy. Chapter 1. Ago, sir, would she gie you so much of her lips, as of her tongue she oft bestows on me. You would ha enough. Chapter 500. Ease, alas, she has no speech. Chapter 1. Ago, in faith too much. Chapter 1. Find it still when I ha low to sleep. Chapter 1000. Array before your ladyship, I grant. She puts her tongue a little in her heart, and chides with thinking. Emil, you ha little cause to say so. Chapter 1. Ago, come on, you are pictures out of. Chapter 500. Ura, bells in your parlors, wilde cats in your kitchens, saints in your aneries, deals being offended, players in your huswifery, and huswius in your beds. Chapter 500. Ease, oh, five upon thee, slanderer. Chapter 1. Ago, nay, it is true, or else I am a Turk.